Hello, everybody. Happy Get Crackin' on Christmas. Happy September. It's almost over. Happy Tuesday. And happy Get Crackin' on Christmas. So if you haven't been Get Crackin', it's now time to get crackin' because it's officially fall. Fall. For those of you guys that are new to Get Crackin' on Christmas, I host this all year long. I like to work on my holiday cards throughout the year, so come this time of year, it is less stress. So I always share my holiday cards with you guys over on my website, shirkus.com, on the third Thursday of the month. In that post, I will let you guys know when I plan on going live, where I am sharing with you guys how I created my holiday card. So this time is not only hopefully a fun time for you, whether you're joining me live or on replay. This time is also a time that you might be inspired, maybe you'll learn something, but you also could start working on your holiday cards. So maybe start stamping out some images, coloring them in as you're joining me, start die cutting some sentiments, whatever it is you want to do. If you are sharing your holiday cards throughout the year, use the hashtag #GetCrackingOnChristmas and tag me so I can see what you're making, because I love to see what you're making, even if it has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm sharing with you. This month is extra special, so if you are joining me live today on the 23rd of September, or you're joining me before September 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, make sure you guys go over to my Instagram. I have linked it in the pinned comment in the live here, and I also linked it in the caption of the video. Pinkfresh is generously giving away a $50 gift card. So you just need to go over to my Instagram post. You need to make sure you're following me, make sure you're following Pinkfresh, and leave a comment, tag some crafty friends. $50 gift card. That's pretty awesome. And it's open worldwide. So join me. And thank you, Pinkfresh, for offering that giveaway. Today just so also happens to be Pinkfresh release day. So I did share a card on my website today, and there's an inspiring blog hop going on with other chances to win Pinkfresh gift cards. So definitely check that out as well. And then tomorrow we'll have an Instagram hop. I'll be sharing another card with some more chances to win. All the chances. Hello, everybody. Hello, Miss Brianne. Yay, you and Eli had a dance party to the intro music. I need to check it. I thought it was long enough, but it started to like dwindle out on my 3-minute countdown. Hello, Miss Libby. No, you're not late. You're right on time. You're better than I am. I always try to remember my trade show bestie, Miss Libby's lives, and I always forget. I'm actually really, really bad at watching anything on YouTube, so that's a fun fact about me. Hello, Karen. Hello, Diana. Hello, Melissa, Kathy. I saw a couple Kathys here, and I recognized both of their names. Hello, Heather. Yay. And Miss Brianne is here linking all of the things. I love that. Hello, Eileen. Thanks for popping in. And Chris. Okay, so we are going to get started. I think this is a little bit of a more vintage classic card, but you know me. There's very, very little bit of red, and we're going to do some watercoloring. We're just going to have some fun. So if you are joining me live and you guys have questions, make sure that you put the word question in the beginning. That helps me see it. And then if you're catching the replay, leave comments on the video and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Yes, I am wearing purple today. I love my purple in my crafty shirts. I call this like hydrangea purple. Oh, Miss Libby, shush. All right, so this is the card that I am going to create with you guys today. I had a lot of fun with watercoloring, with Glossy Accents, with Distress Rock Candy, but more importantly, can we all just start using ribbon on our cards again? Can we just start this initiative? I love ribbon on cards. I'm not much of a bow tire, but I love to use ribbon on my cards, and I just want to bring that trend back. So this card is using all kinds of Pinkfresh goodies. It is Pinkfresh release day, but these goodies are from last month's release. Still available, still amazing. So I'm using Timeless Tidings die set. There is a coordinating layering stencil, but I am just using the die set today. And then my sentiment is coming from Once Upon a Holiday, and they had some really fun book themed stamps and dies and such in last month's release that a lot of these sentiments will work really, really well with. But I really love this Once Upon a Christmas. And then this month's release is Tales and Fables, I think it was. And there's some more book related things. So this is a fun sentiment set for all of my book loving friends. And then I always love Pinkfresh's cover plates. And so this is Evergreen Sparkle that I am using on my background. So yeah, we're gonna get started. Brienne wants to know, do my distress watercolor pencils live on my desk? I feel like they should. They almost always do. However, this coming Thursday is Lawn Fawn release day, and I was actually using my Copics, and I cleared off some room, and I had put my distress watercolor pencils away. But I digged them back out. So, or digged them. Sorry. I dug them back out. So here they are, loved and in all of their glory. Thank you guys so very much. Heather says, I support ribbon on cards. I'm a sucker for pretty ribbon, but barely use it. Well, this ribbon here, I have had in my stash. I have a whole roll of it from May Arts, and I've had it in my stash for a long time. I'm actually like sad. I might be getting close. It feels like I'm getting close. You know how you can't really tell? Yay. Hello, everybody. Hi, Nikki. Yay, yay, yay. Okay. Brienne says Pinkfresh Studio is trying to bankrupt me. Brienne is a big book lover. So yeah, I can see that. And Heather says, I love when you pull out the watercolor pencils because I'm still learning to use mine. And I love that too. Stick with me, Miss Heather, because they're not going away. These are my love. They are not going away. All right. So what I did first is I already die cut the Timeless Tidings die out of Distress Watercolor cardstock, and it just die cut all of them in one swoop. And this is something that I do often where I like to keep them in that backer sheet, and I actually just use some Best Ever low tack craft tape to hold them in place. This is going to allow me to have more control when I start watercoloring these dies. So this is something that I love to do. And so, yeah. Did I already lose my sentiment? Oh yeah, here it is. I already pre-embossed my sentiment. But so the first thing that we are going to do is just start watercoloring our dies here. I die cut out of the smooth side of the Distress Watercolor cardstock, but these most certainly could have been done out of the textured side. I definitely use the smooth side if I'm stamping, but it doesn't, for this, it doesn't matter. It could have been smooth or textured. It really just matters the mood I'm in. I use smooth the most, but every once in a while I'll throw in a textured side. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start with our holly leaves. And so what I'm going to do is, if you're new around here, this is how I keep my Distress Watercolor pencils. I keep them in their tin, and I use them sort of like a palette. And so I'm just using like a normal round brush, not that big, not that small. And I'm going to start by picking up some cracked pistachio. So I have all 6 sets of the Distress Watercolor pencils, and I have put them in rainbow order. If this is something you would like to do, Ranger's website has a section called Organize Your Ranger Products. I think it's in the footer of their website, and they have all kinds of coloring charts, swatch charts, things to print out. But I just look at any of the distress items, and they will have them in rainbow order for you. And I just followed that to put my pencils in order. I'm a little like all over the place today. This is a big deadline busy week this week. But Crop and Create is this weekend. Scrapbook and Cards Today hosts that event virtually. There's over 3,000 attendees worldwide, so I'm teaching that on Friday. Like I said, Lawn Fawn release day is on Thursday, where I release a lot of class info. I had a live meet and greet yesterday for Crop and Create, this live, so I'm a little flabbergasted, but I'll settle down if I seem a little bit all over the place and not knowing my words. So you can see I'm just doing a light wash of cracked pistachio all over these leaves. It's very, very subtle, very, very light. And we're just kind of slapping it on. But you can see how having these in their backer sheets means I don't need to hold on to each individual little leaf. I'm going to turn down my lights a little bit. I feel like they are blowing out the color. They're a little, I feel like they're a little intense. Let's just turn them down a little bit. Okay. But having them in the backer sheets just allows me to kind of slap the color on, not worry about it too much. And I don't need to hold on to each little die, which I absolutely love. Yeah, Eileen says that Lawn Fawn sends ribbon with their packaging, so we can use that. I love the twine that they send, for sure, for sure. Yay, I'm glad I'll see some of you guys at Crop and Create. And Eileen says, how is it possible that I don't have all of the watercolor pencil sets? Well, Eileen, I know you live near Papercraft Clubhouse in Connecticut, and I absolutely know that Tracy will be able to hook you up. So I don't honestly remember if I used pine needles or if I used evergreen bough. So we're going to just do a little bit of both on each leaf here. I used evergreen bough, I can tell now. So we'll just go with that. So I'm using evergreen bough, and I'm just kind of like adding some shadow. I hope if you take anything away from today, I hope you'll see how non-precise you need to be with your Distress watercolor pencils. But so typically I would just do one leaf at a time, but because I was trying to figure out which color I had used, I added a little bit on both sides. But I'm now going back into cracked pistachio, and we're going to just start to add next to where I laid that darker color down, the evergreen bough, and just start to kind of blend it. We definitely are going to want these to look watercolored. So I'm cleaning my brush, not a lot of water. I'm smoothing out in between. Just having fun, just kind of letting the pencils and the water take me where they will. Might be the mermaid in me. It's beautiful today on Cape Cod. We are supposed to get in the high 70s. So I feel like Cape Cod weather is saying not yet fall, not yet. And I am here for it. We actually have beautiful, beautiful falls here on the Cape. And a lot of people think I literally don't like fall. I actually really do like fall. I just wish fall didn't bring winter. If we could just, you know, not have that season come by, I would be good. Let's see. Denise says it's really odd seeing me with clean water. I know. It's because I haven't been using my Distress watercolor pencils. I went and got fresh water for the live. You know, I don't want to scare new friends away. So you can see I'm just building up the layers. If I want a little bit more dark, I'm having a little bit more dark. If I want to soften, I'm bringing in some cracked pistachio. If I want to blend, I'm making sure my brush isn't super wet because we don't want to plop down droplets of water. And I'm just kind of pulling this color and blending a little bit. Yeah, I love how that's looking. So, so now we'll just go over to our smaller leaves. And again, typically I would do one leaf at a time, so things stay wet and blendable. So that's what I'm going to do. I laid down some evergreen bough. I'm getting some cracked pistachio, and I'm going to kind of smudge those edges. Do I know where the light source is or where the shadow should be? I do not, and I'm not worrying about it. I'm just having fun. And I actually kind of like how that one is, so I'm going to leave that as it is. That's one of the things I get so like enjoying my time watercoloring that sometimes I just overwork things a little bit too much. So learning when to stop is also something that comes with practice. So Lisa says, I can imagine winter on Cape Cod could be quite harsh with ice storms. So I don't want to jinx myself, but typically, unless there is a coastal storm, we actually have fairly mild winters. I grew up in New Hampshire, so I've lived in New England my whole life, and if you watch weather reports and see what's happening in Boston, that's actually not usually what's happening on the Cape. The ocean temps stay relatively warm, not swimmable warm, but not, very, very cold. And so that tends to keep us pretty warm and mild. And quite often in the winter, we will be 10 degrees warmer on Cape Cod than we are in Boston. And so because of that, our ground doesn't really freeze. So if we do get some snow, it tends to melt faster. So I really am lucky. We don't typically have winter weather until January. And it typically is not as bad as what you might see the rest of New England. And Brienne says, I could almost not hate fall if winter didn't come right after. Yeah, exactly. Same here, girl. Same here. All right, so those are my leaves. I'm happy with those. And what's funny is they look really messy right now. But when I take them out of this backer sheet, you'll be like, wow, Jen, you actually know what you're doing, right? Okay, so for our berries, again, I was not good. I did not write notes on what colors I used, but let's see. I think I definitely was trying to stay away from red. I know you guys will be surprised by that. So I feel like maybe abandoned coral and saltwater taffy. Well, let's go with it. All right, so again, I'm going to start with my lighter color, which will be this saltwater taffy. And I'm going to add it to these berries, very soft. We can always build up and add more. Yeah, Boston and the Cape are about, I think we're 90 miles, I'm 90 miles from Logan Airport. I don't really want to say how long it takes me to get to Boston because it all depends on traffic. So now I'm taking some abandoned coral and I'm going to just start to kind of add it where I want some shadow. Now my Distress Watercolor cardstock's wet, so things are going to move a little bit. So I'm not going to get nervous about that. But I'm just kind of dabbing that on where I want a darker bit of shadow. Hello, Monique. A couple of you guys in here from the Netherlands. Thanks for popping in, you guys. I love it. You're watching during dinner. So now I'm coming in with a little bit more saltwater taffy. I'm realizing that I kind of lost my shadow, which is okay. I'm going to go back in with abandoned coral. And again, just kind of dab it in those shadow areas. I'm going to let these rest because I am going to do a little yellow highlight in the center of these berries. So I can always come back and add more watercolor, like more pinky reds as well. but I'm going to move on to my other berries. So we'll do a light coat of that saltwater taffy. And then I'm taking that abandoned coral and just kind of doing like a U. Right? Don't want it to blend up too much. But it's all just playing, you guys. Like, that's what I love about these distress watercolor pencils is they're so forgiving, and they just, you know, lead to a really fun look, and you don't really have to do a whole lot. And I'm there for it. I love that. I don't have a lot of patience, so, and I've tried many different watercoloring mediums in the past, and they're just honestly a little too finicky for me. So I just love these pencils. And the more that you play with a medium, the more comfortable you'll get. And that's what I'm discovering. I'm learning more and more with these pencils and coming up with more and more techniques and different looks, and just really enjoying them. So, all right, so I'm going to let these berries rest a little bit, let them dry a little bit. One thing I find is I actually do not use my heat tool very often, because I like things to dry naturally. That's when you start to get all those little pockets of pigment and fun little veins, like watercolor veins left behind. And yeah, it's so fun, so fun. Okay, so let's do our ornaments. I actually didn't use this sprig, so I'm not even gonna, I colored it originally because I thought I was going to use it, and then I didn't end up using it on my original card. So I'm not even going to bother this time, but now I'm using a little bit of worn lipstick. Oh, this was my yellow ornament. Oh well, this one will be my pink ornament this time. But I'm using a little bit of worn lipstick. And if you've done any coloring of round things with me with alcohol-based markers, you know I like to add darker amounts on the edges, and then I'm going to kind of bring it into a soft center. And this will help it appear to have a curve, even though it's not. It's flat on paper, right? And I will say, if you want to learn more about distress watercolor pencils, I have 2 distress technique classes, part 1 and part 2. You don't necessarily need to do them in order, but I would encourage you to do them in order. They're very affordable, and you can take them at your own pace. They both have great handouts. I also have several online classes with Lawn Fawn stamp sets where I've used distress watercolor pencils, and coming very soon, very, very soon. Watch your email newsletters. Hopefully you're subscribed. I have my mixed media in-season card class coming up where we're going to be using distress watercolor pencils. Thank you, Melissa. She says she loves the subdued berries as opposed to red. Well, you know me. And Eileen says, Tracy from Paper Craft Clubhouse is going to get an order from me. Thank you, Jen, for enabling. You're welcome. And Heather says, how did you choose your color palette for your cards? Do you Google or just go where the wind takes you? I will sometimes Google a palette, and then kind of branch off from there. But in this case, this is like a go-to Jenn holiday palette. I'll explain that in just a second, but just so you guys know, I'm taking a damp brush and I'm starting to pull that color in from those dark edges. And I want to be able to pull some more. So what I'm going to do is add more worn lipstick on the dark edges. Okay. But yeah, I think also over time, you start to learn what colors you like and what colors you don't like, right? Or what color palettes you like. And for me, holiday is pinks and like limey greens or minty greens. I don't really love traditional red and green holiday colors. That's just me personally. And if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I love traditional holiday colors, that's totally okay. I think everything that I share um, can be changed into the color palette you like, right? So yeah, so this color palette, honestly, I just started coloring the holly leaves first, just like I did today with you guys, and they were very minty green. So then I was like, okay, well, I definitely don't want to have a green ornament because we're going to have a lot of green on here. And we knew we're going to have a teal in here. So I had a teal ornament, and I knew I was going to have a pink ornament. And then I was like, okay, what should my third ornament be? And I figured it should be yellow. So, I didn't want to do orange. And I kind of went through the rainbow, right? I already had pink. I didn't want to do orange, maybe yellow. I already had some green. I did teal. I know I could have done purple. I'm sorry, Libby and Brienne. But yeah, so I don't know if that really helps you. I guess the answer is I kind of do go where the wind takes me. However, with that being said, I think over time you start to learn what palettes you like, right? What color palettes you like. I have been sharing the past like 6 months or so. I've been experimenting with different palettes because I've found myself to be in a little bit of a creative rut. Nothing bad, but just kind of like, oh, what should I do? What should I create? And I've been switching up my color palettes, not to be what I typically do. And that has really sparked some inspiration for me. So now I'm just using a little bit of mustard seed. And same thing, I put it on the edges very, very heavy. And then with a damp brush, I am brushing through that, blending out that edge and bringing some color to the center. Now, yellow is really hard to build up dimension, just like when we are coloring with our alcohol-based markers. So, it's a little hard. I'm probably not going to work this one as much as I did the pink. I'm going to kind of be done with it and be okay with it. Thank you, Libby and Brienne. Libby says Jen is the goat of distress watercolor pencils. I'm just waiting to hear you guys tell me you're sick of distress watercolor pencils, because when that happens, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I guess I'm just still going to use them, but nobody's going to come hang out with me. That's going to be a problem. All right, so now I'm using my loved peacock feathers. This is all I got left. This is from another pencil that I have in there, just to make me feel better that I know I have a backup. But I did peacock feathers for the teal. And again, I am just doing a heavy dark edge with a lot of pigment. And I'm laying that down first, not worrying about anywhere else on the ornament. Lisa says, love your method. You make this seem very doable. I struggle with watercolor. Well, I hope I make it seem doable, but more importantly, I hope you'll play and try this out and realize that it really is doable. I don't want to just make things seem doable. I want you guys to try it out and feel successful. So thank you. All right, so I just did a damp brush and brushed it out, but I know I need some more, so I'm just building it up. And again, when I'm pulling the color, I want to have a damp, clean brush because I don't want to just make this all one color. I want to have the variety of tones and I'm not thinking of my words correctly, but I want to have dimension. There we go. There's my words. So whenever, you know, I want to build up more color, I'm going in and grabbing some pigment, but then I clean my brush and I'm always touching it to my skin because that allows me to see how wet it is. I don't want it drippy wet. Drippy wet is fixable, but if drops of water start plopping, things, you kind of start to lose control. Okay. And I think we're good. I think we're going to leave these. Again, I like to see how they dry on their own. And they're going to look a lot better once we take them out of the backer sheet. I promise. Some of you guys might be like, oh my gosh, she doesn't know what she's doing. But I'm going to go ahead and just set these guys aside and let them dry. So what I did for the background is I used this Evergreen sparkle. However, all of these little sparkle marks do pop out of the background, but I don't want them to. And this is why I didn't die cut this ahead of time, because I kind of wanted to show you guys how I did it. So, so I'm taking that cover plate die, and this is a sheet of distressed watercolor cardstock. I am going to use the smooth side, and I'm going to line it up. I'm going to put a couple little pieces of Best Ever craft tape, just so that, just to hold that cover plate in place. And then off camera is my big die cut machine. I have the Spellbinders Platinum 6. So I'm just going to run this through that machine. And I'm bringing it back in here. Now, what I'm doing, because I want these little stars to stay in place. Now, that's not the intention of this die. It's just the look that I am going for. What I am going to do, I'm just kind of getting this tape out of here that held it in place. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the skinny Best Ever craft tape, and I'm just going to run it down the sparkles so that they will stay in place. And this might seem silly to some of you guys. It was just the look that I liked, and this skinny tape was like perfect for it. Hello, Pinkfresh. Thanks for popping in. And thank you so much for the generous gift card giveaway. I was saying at the beginning of my live, I have a $50 gift card giveaway over on my Instagram. So thank you, thank you. Not to mention the blog hop that's going on today for the new release. Lots of giveaway opportunities there as well. And somebody's got to win, right, guys? You can't win if you don't enter. So you can see I'm just going down and backing these little stars so they don't pop out, because I just wanted it to stay solid. I like the texture that they leave, but I wanted them to stay in. I think this die would be really pretty cut out, and you put like sparkle cardstock behind it, so all these little openings would show, you know, some sparkle. I think that would be so, so cute. But yeah. Thank you, Danielle. There might be new people here. Danielle says, I think we know by now that we trust you know what you're doing. Thank you. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I know what I'm doing. But okay. So that is all in place. And now I'll go ahead and get this off of the die. I kind of just like to leave it so not, you know, more of those little stars don't pop out. Let's see, there we go. And this is something fun I've done before to give this really pretty gold subtle look in the background. And so what I'm going to do is use my Gonzai Tombi Starry Color Palette. I don't remember what gold I used, but I'll use yellow gold. They're all great. Jack is in here with me. He was sitting in the window. Jack is my kitty. He was sitting in the window enjoying the birds. And I closed the door for my live. And I realized he's still in here and he's like, I don't want to be in here. My cats don't understand the concept of doors being closed. They just think, you know, they could just go wherever they want, which 99% of the times they can. Yeah, I carry the skinny Best Ever Craft Tape Annie. It works for a lot of certain things, for sure, for sure. Thank you so much, Pinkfresh. All right, so I'm going to pick up some of this yellow gold, okay? And the way that I like to start is I don't want to figure out where to randomly put gold. So what I start to do is I pick up this color and I splatter it kind of in a diagonal. And this just helps me get started, all right? So now that I have it like down, I'm going to just use my paintbrush and start to spread it out. And again, could I just go in here and grab some and spread it out? Sure. But having those splatters just kind of takes away the fear of a white background and where to go and what to do. Now, I do want it to be more gold, so I am picking up more gold, but I'm kind of sticking where those splatters went. And again, it just helps me get started and takes away the fear of a white background. And so I'm just kind of squiggling out a bunch of this gold, right? It's so pretty when it dries and it just catches the light. Like it's just, that gold is like nothing else, right? And while we're at it, we're also going to color our ornament toppers. And for this, I want them to be very, very gold. So what I'm doing is I'm really blobbing on some of this and I'm going to let it set. I might end up using a heat tool just for the sake of the live, but I'm probably going to end up doing a second coat. Could I have cut these out of gold metallic cardstock? Yep. Or gold sparkle cardstock? Yep. But I was already playing with my Gonzai palette. So that's kind of what I decided to do. And as that Gonzai Tombi, this beautiful starry color, starts to dry, I'm just kind of going on top of it with a little bit more. Okay. And again, it's just meant to add to that background. But I love, love, love Pinkfresh's cover plates. I actually get so sad when some of them get discontinued. I'm like, no, I still want to use it. Okay. So now I am going to use my heat tool. So my watercolor is dry. So again, I don't like to use my heat tool on my watercoloring because I want things to dry naturally. But I am going to use my heat tool just to speed up this Gonzai Tombi metallic. Just because, you know, we all got other things to do today, I'm sure. Hello, Tess. No worries. Kitten wrangling is worth being late for sure. So both boys went to the vet yesterday, Gus and Jack. And they are just so content to live in their homes and never, ever, ever adventure into the scary world. So they were very nervous. Chris brought them, but both got a very clean bill of health. So that's always nice and reassuring. Okay, now I'm going to add my second coat on top of my ornament toppers. Just going to add a little bit more water in here. And then we're going to do some splatters. And then we're going to start putting stuff together. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some splatters. I don't know why my camera is not focusing as well as it usually does. I apologize, you guys. I haven't changed anything. Let me just try, a little. Oh, there it goes. Huh, I don't know what's going on. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take some of this yellow gold on my brush, and we're gonna add some splatters onto this background. And then we're also gonna add some splatters onto our die cuts, because why not? Oh, I forgot to add yellow to my berries, so we'll do that too real quick. Where the little inlet is, I like to add, and now that they're dry, you want to wait till they're dry before you try to layer another color. Jack, I can't let you out. Mama's busy. I'll let you out after my live. You're fine. He just let out his little baby cry, in case you heard it. I'm being a very mean mama. So we're just adding a little bit of yellow to the tops of these berries. Okay. All right. Now, for the sake of, again, YouTube, I'm going to dry these so that we can start to put things together, and we'll talk about finishing touches and things like that. All right. Beth says she's just popping in. Thank you so much. Oh, that's so fun. She went to her granddaughter's preschool class and did some reading. I think that's so great. Yay, Tracy's splattering gold too. I mean, is it a holiday card without a little gold splatter and a little bit of sparkle? I think not. I think not. Okay, let's see. Heather says, could you do the same sort of thing with a shimmer spray? That's the only gold I got. Yeah, you could dip your paintbrush in that bottle of shimmer spray and definitely do the same thing. For sure, for sure. All right, so what I'm first going to do is I am going to take this background, and I trimmed it down just a little bit so it'll have a white border on the card base. Spoiler alert, if I trim it down, that means it'll get onto a card base, and future Jen will be happy when I start filling out all of my holiday cards for all of my friends and family. I'll be happy when they're on card bases and I don't have to add that extra step. So I'm just taking 1/8 of an inch off of all 4 sides so that it will have a nice little border on all 4 sides. Okay. Okay. You're all right, Jack. You're okay. Just hang out with Mama. Yeah. I don't know if everybody can hear you, but you've got lots to say. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and take these dies off, and you can see just how much prettier they look now that they don't look all scribbled on, right? But leaving them in that backer really makes it easier to control your watercolor. And then you're not getting fingerprints in it and everything when you are watercoloring. Hi. Yeah, Mama's busy. She's hanging out with her friends. Okay, so I know it's rough to be Jack. He has the littlest, babiest cry, and he's our big house panther. Oh gosh, you guys can hear it. I know, I'm so mean. But that's his cry, even if he was chit-chatting with me, just so you guys know. He's fine. He knows he has an audience now. He's making me out to be bad. Okay, so we're first going to add our ornament toppers onto our ornaments. We'll get that glue set. So we'll just kind of... Hi. Does Mama need to let you out? Yeah? Okay, let me get the glue on these ornaments. Everybody's going to think I'm mean. So I'm just adding a little bit of wet glue to the top here. And then we'll go ahead and put that ornament topper on. And then I like to just put an acrylic block down, just kind of get it to rest, get it to set. And we'll do that with all 3 ornaments. Melissa, take a break and let him out. I promise you guys, he sounds the same when he just comes in to chat with me, but I will let him out. Oh boy. Karen says, I'm so Jennabled. I just spent the last little bit researching the distress watercolor pencils. Well, you've come to the right place. If you just search distress watercolor pencils on my website, there's so much inspiration, all different styles. Okay, I'll let Jack out so that I don't look like a mean mama, right? I know. There you go. He's not even running out. He just wants the door open. You're silly. Okay. All right. Yay. Yeah, Beth says my cats hate a closed door no matter what side of it they're on. For sure. For sure. For sure. Okay. So now that we have that done, I'm going to cut some of that ribbon. And essentially, we are going to thread it through the ornaments. So I want to give myself some play. So I'm going to go about this long. Yeah, Karen, you do not need all 6 sets to get started. Even with just one, you will have a good rainbow variety. So, you know, not telling you I won't Jenable you later to buy more sets, but that's what I love about how Tim Holtz and Ranger broke up the sets. They really did a good job at giving a good color variety for each set. Let's see. Is he mad because you used the die cut machine, or is that Gus? You're very good, Heather. Jack is the one that does not like the die cut machine, but I don't think that's what it was. I just think he didn't like that the door was closed. I just think he didn't like it that the door was closed. So now I have the door open, but it's breezy today. So now it's going to open, close, open, close. All right. So I'm going to gently feed my ribbon through the ornament topper. And I'm saying gently because my ornament toppers are still damp and their glue has not set. So I'm really going to try hard not to rip them. Obviously, if I was not live, I would probably let them dry a little bit more. Oh, Terry just picked up this cover plate, the wreath, the book tree stencils, and the die from Tracy at Papercraft Clubhouse. Yay! That sounds like a fun shopping trip. And Eileen is now jealous and saying, hoping you left her some to go shop. All right. Yeah, so my mixed media online card class that we're going to be doing, hopefully you'll join me, is with distress watercolor pencils. And I just taught it in person at Papercraft Clubhouse. And I said to everybody, you just need one set. So my sets are all broken up, so I don't know what colors are from what set, but the whole class, I was like, I'm going to use yellow, and I said the color yellow I'm going to use. So if you didn't have that specific yellow that I was using, you could pick whichever yellow was in your set. So it worked out really, really well. All right, so now's the time. I'm trying to remember how I put this together. I think I'm going to attach my ornaments. And we are going to do it. I switched the colors, which is fine. So I'm just going to add some foam squares behind these ornaments. And obviously having this card done is going to make it easier to determine placement, a little bit easier than the first time I designed it. But I'm going to go ahead and stick my ornaments down. Yeah, so Brienne just linked the mixed media in season coming soon. So you can go there. Oh, see, I knew these were going to fall off. You can go there and sign up for stock notification so you'll know when the class launches. All right, let me put a little bit more glue. It's because everything's still a little wet and I'm not waiting long enough. Plus I'm tugging on it with ribbon. Heather says, I'm really feeling the need to incorporate some ribbon on a card today. Yay, team ribbon. I have an iridescent snowflake ribbon that could be very pretty. I love it. And I love ribbon, but I like to do simple things with ribbon, like just tie it around into a knot. I'm not I'm not great at tying bows, so I'm not trying to bring that back. But I just think it's so pretty. It adds some really nice texture to the card without really adding texture to the card. You know what I mean? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start to add on our holly leaves. So I'm going to add some foam squares behind the two largest leaves. Okay. And for these guys, we're going to kind of go, you know what I'm going to do? Ha ha ha, look at me being smart. All this ribbon, we're going to just go like this and put another block down. Look at that. Now I can see what I'm doing. All right, so we're just going to start to build like our pine bough. I love that these die cuts were a bit larger, so they really fill the space so beautifully. Okay. And now that we have those down, what we're going to do is take our ribbons and we're going to wrap them around the top. Like, oh gosh, this one does not want to stick. I'm going to have to get it situated. But what we're going to do is wrap these around the top like so. So like they're really hanging. Just like that. And I'm actually going to just use foam to hold them in place because this whole panel is going to get popped up. Okay, so just like that. I'll deal with that pink one in just a minute. I didn't think about the dry time on these. Clearly, I was working slower when I was doing it myself, but so we'll get this one around. And again, I'm just using foam squares to hold it in place. You know what? I'm going to use Distress Collage Medium. Is a little bit stronger. We're going to be using that in a minute for all the fun rock candy. You can hear the cardinals. Oh my gosh. So Nikki, here's a fun story for you. Those of you guys that took my Seeds the Day class, I hosted it back in May. We were making bird feeder cards. And so I was talking about how I wanted to get a bird feeder for our new home, and it'd be good cat TV, and maybe Jack would hang out with me more, which, spoiler alert, I did get a new bird feeder, and he does hang out in here more watching them. And Nikki was telling me the store I should go to, and she found one here on the Cape. What is it called again, Nikki? Like Wild Bird something. She'll tell you guys in the chat and I'll read it. But anyway, so she found one here on the Cape, and I went down there and I used some of my birthday money for my dad, and we got like the whole stand and 2 bird feeders and the bird feed and all the things, right? And it was so fun. I loved supporting like a small business, and it was great. Well, I go to Papercraft Clubhouse last weekend to teach, not last weekend, the weekend before. Oh my gosh. All right, we're going to just get this ribbon in place. But I go down to Papercraft Clubhouse, and they did move, but it's been a couple years. So, and I've been there multiple times, so that's not an excuse. But I go to pull in, and right next door is the Wild Birds Unlimited. There was literally one right there too. It just made me laugh, and I thought of you. How I was totally oblivious to bird things until I'm no longer oblivious to bird things. Okay, we got these all good. So see how I did that, you guys? I just wrapped the ribbon right around the top so it looks like they're hung. We got that one in place, right? It's not really doing anything, except I did go through the loops. And then we're going to take our other holly pieces and add some foam. I just was laughing because I didn't even acknowledge that they were the same ones. It just really cracked me up. I think I told Tracy the story when I was there. So you'll see it, Libby, when you're there. Oh, see, Libby says, that's funny. I walk over to that store whenever I'm up there. Yeah, no, I don't walk over there. Libby is going to be teaching at Papercraft Clubhouse in Connecticut. Some really, really fun pink and Maine classes. I think it's the first weekend of October. Libby, you can drop the information. Maybe Brienne can go to Papercraft Clubhouse's website and link the class page. But yeah, if you live in the New England area, there's no excuse for you not to make a road trip to Papercraft Clubhouse. It's such a well-stocked store, and she has really fun classes, not just my classes. And it's totally worth the drive. Libby says she's been of that bird age for a while now. All right, so now I'm adding my holly berries, right? We're gonna tuck some in. And then we're going to talk about all the fun embellishing. I really love the embellishing part of cards. Probably why my motto is to glitter all of the things. This berry, I think I'm going to put on with a foam square. Thank you, Miss Brienne. October 3rd and 4th. Yay. And I know the classes are almost full, so sign up. She's flying up from Georgia. It's a special, special occasion. Then we're trying to convince her to just stay because, you know, she's not a mom or a wife or anything. But if she stays a few days, then she'll be up here when Shari's visiting me. All right, so we're going to add our sentiment on. And I'm going to go ahead and do that with foam squares. So I come from like a lot of nature time, but my dad didn't specifically watch birds. So, I mean, he does now. Again, you know, we get of that age, right? But we were walking my bog trail when he was here, and I was like telling him, I was like, "Oh, that's a blue jay. Oh, that's a cardinal." He's like, "How do you know this?" I go, "'Cause I'm getting really good at it." I wish I was better at picking out the calls. Not as good as I would like to be. All right, so we're gonna add, oops. We're gonna add our sentiment. I'm just gonna put my block on here for just a minute. Everything's like still damp. I think we're very humid today. And my lack of using my heat tool is coming back to bite me. So let's just give it a second. Yeah, Tracy says she loves bird watching on the island. Yay! Monique says, I love the term bird nerd. I'm going to use that from now on. I love it. It's great. It's great. All right. So before we embellish this card, okay, let's just let things set a minute because everything's like yelling at me and wanting to pop off. What I used, the only thing I used on this card, besides, you know, the Gonzai Tombi for that gold, is Distress Rock Candy and Glossy Accents on the berries. However, and we're going to do that on this card in just a second. However, we have the new Rock Candy Chunky. And I think in a subtle way, it's so subtle, it's so pretty. It's like a white, clear, chunky glitter. Lawn Fawn's chunky glitter is like, this is Lawn Fawn's. This is like an iridescent chunky glitter. Can you guys see the difference? Lots of different colors. I love it for certain things, but this is definitely more subtle. So what I think we can do is using Glossy Accents, so that way it's going to dry clear with a little bit of shine. I am going to go on the edge of my ornaments and kind of skip along. I'm not trying to do a straight gob of Glossy Accents. I'm like dashing it. Okay. And then I don't mind touching this glitter because it will come off. So I'm going to take a pinch and I'm just going to sprinkle and let it catch on that Glossy Accents wherever it's going to catch. So sometimes it won't catch and it'll just leave a little bit of shine from the Glossy Accents. Does that make sense? But now on those edges, see that little bit of sparkle? It's so, so pretty. And that's what I love about this new, the new chunky rock candy. It's like different. It's really different. Now, see how a little bit of that glitters on my fingers because I touched it? I just use a dry brush right over my glitter container. Chris and I were having dinner with some non-crafty peeps the other night, and we were just talking about what we do for a living and blah, blah, blah. And something about glitter, all of the things came up. And so these people, they looked at Chris and they go, "Oh, your house must be really, really sparkly." And he looked, he's like, "Actually, it's really not because I'm a clean glitterer. Clean glitter all of the things." Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to pop this up. I wonder if, I don't think I have any more. Nope. All right, I'm just going to use squares. I normally would use foam tape for this, but I'm just going to continue to use squares since that's what I used. So don't judge me on my square usage. But we're just going to pop this up onto my card base. Okay. Again, that best ever craft tape, nobody's ever going to know that it's there, which is great. Yay, Kathy just got some rock candy after the Creative Journey Art Retreat. I love that. So pretty. Well, you guys know how much I love to glitter all of the things, but I'm just so excited that we have a good variety of glitters because I like to use certain glitters at certain times. There's a time and a place. All right. So this is just a top folding card base. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. I like to make sure everything's done on the card before I start the embellishing. Okay. So the first thing that I did is I added a little bit of rock candy to the holly leaves. And for that, I am going to use Distress Collage Medium. That's my favorite glue to adhere the rock candy. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this and just draw some on the tips of the leaves. It's going to be a nice subtle shimmer, so your line of glue doesn't have to be straight. It doesn't have to be even. It's very, very, very forgiving since it doesn't really have color. Okay. And then I like to use a spoon with my Distress Collage Medium, and I have it, my Distress Rock Candy. I have it stored in one of my glitter storage containers. And I just take the back of the spoon and I just gently tap it. I'm not pressing, but I'm just kind of giving it a chance to really grab on to that glitter. Now, because I have everything popped up, what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm tapping off on all four sides so that if any glitter is trapped behind any of the things popped up, we'll be good to go, right? So now what I did is I took my collage medium and I added details to the ornaments, like designs, right? So I'm just looking real quick. I'm going to use a new bottle. This bottle, I think I split it when I put my paper piercer through it, and I want to be able to control where it's going. So what I did was 3 really big dots. Oh, mess. This is my week this week, you guys. This is my week. Let's see here. Don't panic. Just need to scoop it up. No panicking. This glue is just, it's settled. There we go. Let me put the cap back on and let me shake it. Let's see here. Yeah, so Terry says, I love how the collage medium adds a bit of dimension and texture to the rock candy. I agree. And Tracy says she has a small version of the rock candy, which is this right here. So this is, they're calling this now rock candy clear. And then the other kind I showed you was the rock candy chunky. All right, let's test this out. All right, there we go. So what I did is I took my collage medium and I did a circle. 3 little circles. Like I'm basically embellishing my ornaments with details however I would like them. And then this long skinny one, I did like 3 lines or 2 lines because I couldn't fit the third because we've got an overlap, right? And then this guy here, I did like a zigzag on the top and the bottom. And then I did some little dots. Just like that. Okay. So then you're going to take your collage media or just your Distress Rock Candy and just put it over that. This I would not tap because we want to keep those shapes, right, that we just made. And it was kind of like decorating cookies with icing. We want to keep those shapes, but you can just tap it off. And then we are going to let that dry, okay? Now what I did for the berries is I used my Glossy Accents and I added a generous amount of Glossy Accents to each berry. It's going to look cloudy, but it will dry clear, okay? Basically anywhere a berry is showing, because some of these are overlapping, right? And that's going to give the shine. Once those berries dried, what I did was, and I'll bring it up to the camera, I added some rock candy on the shadow of the berries with Distress Collage Medium. And I can't do that now because it's going to take about a half hour, 45 minutes here in this humidity for the Glossy Accents to dry. But that's what I did on the berries. So they're shiny, but they also have a little bit of rock candy in the shadow. But how fun is that, right? All the little shimmers and shines and sparkles. I mean, Christmas time is the time to be doing all of those things, at least in my opinion. If you can't glitter the rest of the year, you've got to glitter during the holidays, right? I mean, come on. I do not know why my camera's doing that. Annie says, do you ever glitter first? Like glitter these ornaments first and then put them on the card? If I were going to make, you know, a bunch of these cards all identical, I might do that, but I typically glitter last in this manner. But like if I'm using my Quickie glue pen and my Lawn Fawn Prisma glitter, I glitter first because this glue pen dries right away. All of the adhesives I use today to adhere my glitter is going to take a good half hour, 45 minutes. So that's why I glitter last. Hopefully that answers your question. Thanks for popping in, Elizabeth. I love that there's a replay for you that you'll be able to catch up if you would like. Yeah, the Rock Candy Chunky, it's subtle, but it's so pretty. And when Rock Candy Chunky came out, I did a card. It says Hope, Joy, Peace. It's a holiday card. And the Hope letters, I did Rock Candy Chunky. The Joy letters, I did regular Rock Candy. And then the bottom letters, I did the new Distress Snowflakes. So definitely check that out on my website. It really shows the 3 different distress glitters that are out there. And I think it's so fun to see. So that is it, my friends. Get cracking on Christmas for September. Please head on over to my Instagram. I have it linked in the caption of this video. If you're with me live, it's pinned in the chat. Make sure you follow the directions to enter the giveaway. Pinkfresh has donated a $50 gift card. The giveaway is open until September 24th, 2025 at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're catching this on replay a long time from now, unfortunately that giveaway is over. But yeah, and this week is Lawn Fawn release week. So it's Tuesday. Lawn Fawn release is on Thursday. I have a lot of fun things I will be sharing with you guys. I knew Brienne would find that card so quickly. Look at her already linking it. She's so good. She's so good. Yay, Catherine's going to go get her steps in for the day. She's in the Step Bat Challenge. I love that. I love the Step Bat Challenge. It's the only thing that gets me going. Sandy used Chunky on a moon this week. I bet that is so pretty. Thank you, Lisa. This is a t-shirt I carry in my online shop. And yeah, so thank you guys so much. Miss Libby, thank you for being here. Brienne, thank you for being the linking ninja. We love you. And I hope you guys all have a fabulous rest of your day. I'm gonna get cracking on some other stuff. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Bye.